chug some beers and make some bad gambling picks. Welcome to ChuggieBets.
All right, gentlemen. So Matt is not here today, and he's the one that normally does this. So I'm going to try my best to be Matt. I'm not sure how this will work because I might get it a little bit wrong, but we're going to play Where He At. And my first Where He At is for Sunshine. Sunshine, Drake London. Where he at?
Well, he's still in Atlanta, but I guess he didn't show up much this weekend.
He sure didn't.
Oh, damn. Okay. We're doing a dirty version. I love it.
Am I not doing this right? I don't know.
No,
I don't know how this is supposed to work.
It's actually a lot better. Yeah. Where is he at?
Drake London. I know he had 0 catches for 0 yards. Did he have any targets even? I don't think he did.
No, I don't think he did either.
Wow.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, Desmond Ridder, I mean, like he was 11 for 16, and there were a couple drops maybe, but 10 of those were behind the line of scrimmage.
Well,
really?
Drake's going to his hometown in a couple of weeks, so maybe that'll spur some more yardage.
There you go. All right. Our next Where He At. This is for you, Al. J.K. Dobbins. Where he at?
Ooh, he on IR.
Oh.
Ooh. Poor J.K. Dobbins. Is that 3 years in a row he's lost the season to an injury?
I believe it is. And our final Where He's At, this is for everybody. Aaron Rodgers. Where he at?
Ooh. He's living in the minds of every Jets fan from here to eternity.
Oh my gosh.
I saw so many Aaron Rodgers memes today. It's like
unreal.
Scrolling through social media, every other post or video was some sort of Aaron Rodgers meme. And some of them were really funny.
Yeah. I thought I was pretty funny today because our buddy Joey, I didn't realize he had gone to New York to actually attend the game.
I didn't either.
That's very sad and depressing. I'm sorry, Joey. But I thought it was funny. I was like, if we would have told you before the season started that Aaron Rodgers was going to go undefeated as the Jets starting quarterback, you'd probably be really happy with that. Like monkey call. What is the monkey club? Curls.
All right, so that's Where He At. Not sure if I did that right, Matt. You let me know.
No,
all right, welcome to NFL Week 2, ChuggieBets Picks Pod. I'm Andy. That's Al. That's Sunshine. We'll give you some picks, but before we do, let's chug a beer.
Cheers.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers.
All right. So we'll do a little talk about what surprised us the most in week 1. But before we do that, quick recap of our records. Al and Danny, both 2 games above 500. Al was 6-4. Danny was 4-2. The difference there is Danny did win his Chuggie bet. So if Danny was here, he'd have 2 drinks to give out. I don't know. Do those roll over? Can he still use those the next time he joins us, or is it a use it and lose it situation?
I think that he gives it to Al, and
that actually makes really good sense.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say we should decide to dole out his Chuggie over the podcast, but I think that just happened in record time. I like that.
Fair. So Al, that means you've got 3 Chuggies to give out. I'm chugging.
You're
chugging them.
Yeah,
okay.
Danny is giving it to me to chug.
Gotcha.
That was my interpretation, unless Sunshine just felt like being.
No. Danny gave it to you to chug.
Yeah.
Got it.
Cheers.
All right, cheers. Well, Al, you do have a Chuggie to give out as well for having tied that winning record. Matt was at 500. Chris and I both need to do a little bit better, although Sunshine's more than making up for it in college football. So
yeah, I feel so jealous.
Yeah.
Sunshine's cleaning up on college. That's nice.
It sure is.
Well, we need it. Somebody needs to be.
All right, so let's talk about our most surprising results from week 1. Al, I'll let you kick it off. What was your most surprising result?
Yeah, so the shame of kicking off the season on Thursday is you spend 3 days forgetting about it, and you have a Sunday slate of 10 plus games where it's easy to forget. But I think the Lions upsetting the Chiefs in Kansas City is a very surprising one. I picked the Chiefs to cover, so it was surprising to me at least. The other thing with that game also is that there are still 3 other teams in the NFC North that have to play Kansas City, and they're probably going to lose to the Chiefs, right? The Chiefs are going to be good, right? They're not going to. This isn't like a portent of like bad play coming their way. Like they're going to figure it out. So it's almost like a 2-game lead in the division for the Lions. And then we already touched on Aaron Rodgers blowing up his ankle, his Achilles. That's a bummer. But one other game I thought that was surprising was the Cowboys whooping the ever-loving dog shit out of the Giants. I really thought, granted the Giants led that game off by throwing 2 pick sixes, but I really thought they'd score at least for one, but secondly, like, not get blown out by 40 points. So that was surprising to me.
If you're a Giants fan, do you think that the sky is falling right now? I'm asking for betting reasons at this moment, but
I think that was yesterday.
Yeah.
Al?
No, I think Giants, New York fans in general, but Giants fans especially, are well known for being measured, calm, and reasonable.
Absolutely.
So I'm sure they're, there was just a blip in the road. They're ready to go, 16-1 from here on out. I'm sure there's no panic in New York whatsoever.
Yeah, I was expecting the Giants to be at least decent this year. And, definitely makes me reconsider that, but I don't think there's any chance that they're that bad. I think that's just one of those, everything that could go wrong did.
Yeah.
They're not going to get blown out by 40 points again this year.
Yeah. If anything, it makes me think the Cowboys are more real than I wanted to give them credit for. That defense especially, That might be the second best defense in the league.
Yeah. Sunshine, you want to talk about a result that surprised you this weekend?
Well, I think it was the Jets. So Aaron Rodgers going down, and then just what the fuck happened to Josh Allen? Sorry for my language there, but this is my fantasy QB, and he lost me the game. But he I don't know, 3 interceptions and a fumble from him, and like Al was saying, that fumble was not very it was pretty close to that butt fumble. And and the way that they lost, it was just so first they had to tie it to go into overtime. They received first, and then 3 and out, and they punt it, and the punt's returned for a TD to end the game. It wasn't. They were in New York. I get it. It was 9/11. The stadium was, I'm sure, just bumping, but that was not the Bills team I was expecting to see.
Yeah, you see Aaron Rodgers go down. They say he's not coming back in, and you just think, okay, Buffalo's going to run away with this, right? And it didn't play out that way.
But everything I just said made it sound like the Bills lost this game. That's not really what happened. The Jets defense was super solid in there.
So Sunshine mentioned fantasy, and it got me thinking. So, as you guys may or may not be aware, Zach in our fantasy league managed to draft both Joe Burrow and Pat Mahomes. Andy, pop quiz. Who do you think had more combined points, Burrow and Mahomes, or Lamar Jackson and Baker Mayfield?
I know this. It was Lamar Jackson and Baker Mayfield, but only because of Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, correct. Oh, and then does it make you feel bad that you pretty much lost that matchup because Zach also had the highest scoring defense probably ever, 37 points from the Cowboys defense?
I didn't even realize that. I was so upset that I literally 10 minutes before the game started benched Brandon Ayuk, who scored, I think, at least
God.
2, if not 3 touchdowns.
Oh.
So, yeah, if I hadn't benched Brandon Ayuk, it wouldn't have even been close, even with his defense putting up 40. So, yeah, I was kicking myself for that one.
Sorry, I didn't want to. I guess I did want to just make you super salty about our fantasy league.
Nothing worse than losing to Zach. All right. And for me, a couple of surprising things. Joe Burrows being bad. That was surprising.
Not just losing, but losing 24-3.
Yeah.
That's surprising.
That said, he was really bad in their week 1 game last year. I don't think he plays much, if at all, in the preseason. And then he still went to the AFC Championship game last year and was, within a field goal, I think, of going to the Super Bowl. So 1 week is not, something to overreact, but, don't expect him to be that bad. And then I didn't think Pittsburgh would be that bad. I knew, San Francisco was the better team, but they just, throat stomped the Steelers. It was kind of crazy.
Yeah, I mean, something didn't jive right with that. It was like everyone's picking the Niners to make the Super Bowl, but then also picking the Steelers to cover what wasn't a very large line. Like, it was under a touchdown for sure, right? So I was like, either people are down on the Niners or super high on the Steelers. And I mean, granted, I teased the Steelers and they weren't anywhere close to hitting on that, but yeah, I think they just might be bad.
Is Brock Purdy the next Tom Brady?
You betcha.
Hey, at least he's not in my division this time, I guess.
I feel like Brock Purdy is the next John Kitna, which is to say a guy who should be a backup, but can be more than serviceable in the right situation, which I guess is sort of how you would describe Tom Brady until he won a Super Bowl. So John Kitna equals Tom Brady is what I'm saying.
Nice. So I've got one more question for you guys before we get into picks. And I had this thought before Aaron Rodgers got hurt, and Aaron Rodgers getting hurt kind of changes this a little bit. But I think, and feel free to reel me in here if you think I'm wrong, but I feel like there are more teams right now that either know that they have their quarterback or at least feel like the guy they have might turn out to be the guy than at any point I can remember. Like, there's always a handful of teams where you're like, they do not have the guy on that roster, and they're going to have to lose and get the number 1 draft pick to get a guy, right? Like Houston the last couple of years, right? Like, the guy was not on that roster. And right now, I feel like there are not a lot of those. So many guys got drafted high this past year, and then you had some guys that stepped up last year. Now it's like Arizona does not have the guy.
Arizona is actively trying to not have the guy.
Right.
Yeah. So
they're not even looking for the guy. The guy is the guy's about to win the Heisman.
Yeah.
But
I think it's a very subjective question, right? Because I can count 7 teams looking here that want a better quarterback.
Okay, go through them quick.
So I'll run through them. So Tampa Bay, they've got Baker Mayfield. Maybe they're okay with that for the year, but I doubt they're like planning to build this team around Baker.
Yeah, Tampa Bay was another one I thought of. They do have Kyle Trask on the roster, but the fact that Baker beat him out this year is not a good sign, right? You'd expect him to beat Baker if he's going to be the guy going forward.
So Tennessee is another one. They've got Tannehill, who's like I think toward the end of his contract there. They have Malik Willis and they have Will Levis, but I'm not sure, confidence-wise, where they stand with any of those three. Arizona and Washington. We already mentioned Arizona. Washington, they're rocking with Sam Howell, but I don't know. So I think that's a team where you could say I think they like where they're at, but I also think Sam Howell's probably not the guy they're gonna ride or die with, right?
Yeah.
Besides that, New England, Mac Jones, that's another one where I think depending on who you ask, they'll say that they're set or that they're very much not. Is that it? Who else did I have? I don't know, that's mostly it. That's a good number of teams. So New England, Arizona, Washington. Oh, Pittsburgh with.
I mean, I know Sunday was not a good day for them, but I think they're ready to roll with him for a while. So
yeah. So I mean, I would say 3 or 4 of the 7 teams I picked are debatable, depending on who you ask. But I'd say as many as 7 and as few as probably 3.
Yeah, but that's kind of what I'm saying, right? Like,
yeah,
there's only like 3 teams right now that are like just like undisputedly like they don't have the guy.
And there's going to be at least 3 really good quarterbacks coming out in this draft, if not 4 or 5.
I don't know. It felt like people are more set at quarterback right now than usual. Maybe I'm way off, but
no. I think there's something to it. I think what you're going to end up seeing is a sort of renaissance of backup quarterbacks, where it seems like the longest time you had a backup because you needed a backup, but it wasn't a guy who could step in and play. And we'll probably be at a position here for at least a few years where there are quality, capable backups on most rosters.
Yeah. And I think it's good for the game, right? The quarterback's the most important position. If you've got a guy that's not total dog shit, it makes
they just added a whole rule this year where they can have an emergency third string quarterback because the 49ers got hosed because they lost 3 quarterbacks in like 2 weeks in the playoffs last year. So more good quarterbacks is always good.
What about the Denver game? Was it like 2-3 years ago where they had a wide receiver taking snaps? You remember that game?
Yeah, was it Demaryius Thomas?
No,
that was far too long ago.
I want to say like KJ. Hamlin, something like that.
Hamlin,
yeah.
All right. Anybody have any?
Still on the subject of quarterbacks. I'm not sure Atlanta's found his guy either. I've been team Desmond Ridder. I've been riding this guy. I've been like, he needs his chance. He needs his chance. He needs his chance. And then when I was watching it at the bar this weekend, like with a bunch of Atlanta people, it's pretty tough to, there are only so many times you'd be like, oh, come on, guys, give this guy a break. And I mean, he did, at the end of the game, he did throw a long bomb to Kyle Pitts, and I was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah, it feels like his days are probably numbered, or at least he's going to have a serious competition on his hands next year. Atlanta seems like a team that could be, they could fall in just the right spot to be able to land someone like, it's Caleb Williams and then Drake May, and then you've got Sam Hartman. There's a couple other guys that are going to be good that are coming out, but the Falcons. Yeah, Quinn Ewers. But it's the Falcons. If they end up in that middle range, they may not be in contention for those top 2, but there's going to be 2 or 3 guys that they're going to be able to get someone good without having to make big moves. But yeah.
All right, we ready to get into these picks?
Let's do it.
All right. So as always, kicking it off with Thursday night, the Minnesota Vikings are going in to play the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm going to give out a pick here in Matt's honor. He wasn't able to be here with us today, but Matt loves those Thursday night unders. The number I saw was 48.5. I'm going to lock that in. We won't officially lock it in for Matt, but I am dedicating that pick to Matt.
I love it. So my favorite thing in the NFL, I think historically over the past 5+ years, it's hit at a 62% clip, is taking a team that did not cover the previous week versus a team that did cover. And there are a ton of those. I think there's 10 games that fit that bill this week. There's a couple I'm not taking because the spreads are kind of big. And at least one of them I like the other side on. So it's not like a hard and fast thing, but generally speaking, that's what guides me in the NFL. And the Vikings failed to cover against the Bucks, and the Eagles did cover last week. So I'm going to take Minnesota +7.
I
Especially
don't think
if
the Eagles did cover.
The Eagles, yeah, they did. They beat New England by 5 because New England was driving to cover, and then they threw that pass and it was incomplete. The guy didn't drag his foot. So
Gotcha. They won by 5, but I thought the line was like 6 or 6.5.
I think it moved. I think it got down to 4 or 4.5.
Gotcha. Okay.
So yeah, so maybe technically that one might not fit the bill if it's based off of opening lines. I don't know where that one opened. But I'm taking the Vikings +7, especially if it stays at or above 7. I like it. But I'm also considering teasing the Eagles from a -7 down to -1. And I think I might try and sweet spot this one and do both of those. So I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to tease Philly down and also play Vikings +7.
Nice. I like both of those a lot, actually. And you're right. The number closed at only 3.5. So
Okay.
The Eagles did cover that. So yeah, I like that. That's one of my favorite things to do. And I've got one of those coming later today, where you look for that sweet middle where you hit both. So yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
This next pick is Packers going into Atlanta Sunday at 1:00. I like to refer to this as the Ghost of Brett Favre Bowl. Sunshine, we'll let you kick it off here. What do you got for us?
Old Buckhead Brett. That's a good reference. So I'm taking Atlanta +2 on this just because they're at home. And I think that they, even with the struggles that we saw, what they have going on with their running game right now, like the last time Atlanta had like a fire and ice pair of running backs, like we did really well. And I think that that's kind of what's going to end up happening. Like I thought it was going to be the Bijan Robinson show, but it turns out it's going to be both him and Algier. And so that's why I'm hedging that bet with the over 40.5, because Green Bay is going to score, Atlanta's going to score, everybody's going to score. It's going to be a great game. You know, unfortunately, there might be more Green Bay fans than Atlanta fans there.
Yeah, I mean, I like the logic. I think that makes sense. For me, and this might be a familiar theme throughout the season, is I'm not. I mean, obviously, Sunshine, you're a Falcons fan. You like the Falcons. They looked good week 1. Surprised, like they impressed. But I don't think they have the talent to hang with teams that I think are, sort of perennial playoff teams. And the Packers, it's supposed to be a down year for them, but I don't see it. I mean, they're not going to be as good as the Aaron Rodgers, like, heyday Packers team, but this is a Packers team that has a great defense. They can get after the pass rusher. They can live in the backfield. They have a premier shutdown corner. It's going to be tough to put up points on this Packers defense, and I think Jordan Love is like he's going to end up essentially being like the prototypical game manager, where he just has to put the ball in the hands of the guys who can get in the end zone. So your Aaron Jones, your Christian Watson. I don't know if he's playing this game or not, or if he's going to be out longer, but I'm going to lay them -2 with Green Bay here on the road. It just feels like they should be more than a field goal favorite, even with the game being in Atlanta.
Yeah, I think before seeing the Packers beat up on the Bears, I would have been all over this Atlanta +2. But the Packers looked way better than I thought they would with Jordan Love. So a little scared from taking the 2, but a 2 does put this in a perfect Wong teaser range. You take Atlanta plus the 2. You put in a 6-point teaser. That brings you up to plus 8. So I'm going to have 4 teaser legs this week. Atlanta is my first of those 4. You can pair them up however you want. I kind of went a little buck wild. I did every possible combination of these 4. So that's, I think, 6 sets of 2, then 4 sets of 3, and a set of 1, which is all 4 of them together. You probably shouldn't do that. It's probably a little much. But I gotta make up for last week. So we're trying some things.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna go teaser crazy this year. I think it's gonna be all over the place. I'm teasing Philly, and you're not. I guess because they're not over 7-point favorites. And there's another game down the road, Houston, that I feel like is right in your wheelhouse, but you don't want to pull the trigger on. But I guess we can talk about it when we get to it.
Yeah, there's also a bunch of games that are currently at plus 3, and one of my books does 5-point teasers at plus 110 for a 2-team teaser. So I thought about doing some of those, but I already have so many teasers with the 4 that are actual ones.
Yeah.
I decided to play it easy with the other ones, at least for this week. So, Sunshine, you want to take us into Buffalo?
Yeah. So I'm taking Las Vegas plus 9.5. My reasoning behind this is just it looked like Buffalo had some things they needed to figure out. The Raiders are coming off a win. I mean, it wasn't a huge win, but it's a win. With Garoppolo back there, I think that he has some weapons. I think the Bills will figure it out and win. I just don't think they're winning by 9.5 points.
Yeah, so this is actually another game where the Bills did not cover and the Raiders did. So this is a spot where I would typically bet the Bills minus 10 or minus 9.5. But it's too big a spread, and they did not look like they had their shit together. And they're going to be playing on a short week. So that's why I'm not picking it. So I think I'm in a little bit of agreement here with Sunshine here that Vegas is probably the better play.
Yeah, I didn't watch a ton of that game, but I had Red Zone on, and from what I saw, Jimmy G looked decent. He looked like he might be able to manage this team and the weapons that he's got around him. So I don't hate it at all. Al, you want to take us through the next 2?
Yeah, so the Bengals obviously look like dog shit against Cleveland, and I don't think they're going to do that 2 weeks in a row. So I'm laying 3.5 with the Ravens. I don't know if this line's going to get any better than that. So I think it's a good time to take that play. And that same thing said, I think Seattle got shell-shocked by the Rams week 1. I don't think they were expecting that kind of competition out of the gates from a Rams team that I think many people are down on this year, unless you're Danny and I. And the Lions are coming off an emotional win. They're a little high on the horse here. I'm hoping Detroit can still get the win, but Seattle plus 6 is where it was yesterday. I think it's at 5.5 now. I like it a lot better at 6 than 5.5. But I think I'd still take it. I think if it got to like 4, I'd officially be out. But 6 is obviously a better number to be at than 5, 5.5. So Cincinnati minus 3.5 and Seattle plus 6. That's the next place I got.
Nice. So I've got the next one here. The Chargers are coming out east to play the Titans. I'm taking Tennessee plus 3. The Chargers put up a ton of points against the Dolphins. And at this point, not sure if that's the Chargers offense being really good or the Dolphins defense being really bad. But Tennessee at home, they still got Derrick Henry. I'm going to take the 3 points at home.
Yeah. I don't hate it.
All right, Al, you and I are going against each other on the next 2. We got 2 fights here in a row. Why don't you kick us off with Bears Bucks?
Yeah, so I think I initially put down Bears here because Bears didn't cover and the Bucks did. But this situation, I think Tampa's got a little bit of juice to them, and I think people are a little high on the Bears. I think obviously that's come down a bit after they got beaten by the Packers. And you never know what Justin Fields is going to do. He might bust out a 60-yard touchdown run here and cover this one clear. But I think getting Tampa under a field goal -2.5 is where I got it. Is a little too sweet to pass up because Baker looks good.
Yeah, I just don't trust Baker to be consistent. And I think Fields is better than what he played last week. It's my second week in a row betting on the Bears, and it hurt me last week, but I'm going back again this week. I'm taking the field goal, the +3. If I get burned again, maybe I'll cool it on the Bears a little bit, but for now, I'm going to give it one more try.
Go. What? How come you like the Jags in this next one?
I don't know. I believe in Trevor Lawrence. I believe in Doug Peterson. Jacksonville's got weapons on the ground. They've got weapons in the air now with Calvin Ridley. And the Chiefs, I agree with you, Al. You said before they're not going to have like a down year and lose like double-digit games or anything like that. But they look beatable,
Yeah.
And I know Kelsey's coming back. I know Chris Jones is coming back. Those both obviously huge helps because Mahomes didn't have anybody to throw to that could catch last week. But, is Kelsey really going to be 100%? And the game's in Jacksonville. So I'll take the 3 points with the Jags. What about you?
Yeah, I'm gonna lay the 3 with the Chiefs. I expect that a lot of people will probably be on the Chiefs by the time this game kicks off. It's not to say that the Jags aren't capable of winning this game. They played the Colts and they beat them by 10 points, and that was a disappointing result for Jags fans. So they're definitely capable of hanging in here, but I think the Chiefs are just going to be like a flip switch, right? Like they lost a game they thought they had, and now it's time to get in line and figure shit out. And they've got Kelsey back, which I think is probably the biggest impact on a spread outside of quarterback in the league. And you also, when you factor in the drops they had, like that they should have won that game, to be honest. I think it's not likely they're going to have such significant, impactful drops happen 2 weeks in a row. And plus, he's got his security blanket and Kelsey back. And that's regardless of whether or not Chris Jones is, an impactful presence this week or not. So, I think the Jags also, they ran the ball when they needed to, but they kind of struggled for the most part. So I think, I just like the Chiefs here. I don't think Jacksonville is a very intimidating place to play when you're the defending Super Bowl champs either. No offense, but
yeah, but maybe with Trevor Lawrence they can get some excitement building and get some people in there. Either way, that should be a fun game. I'm looking forward to watching that one.
Do you like? Do you ever consider taking money line on these like 3-point dogs that you're on here, like Tennessee, Chicago, and Jacksonville?
That's exactly the range. Yeah, almost for sure. These will all be in my money line round robin for the week. That like 2.5 to 5 point dog is really a sweet spot for taking dogs in the NFL.
Yeah, I think I saw a stat. I don't know if it's still at this point, but it was sometime last year that something like 80% of dogs in the NFL win outright. or it might have been like, 3-point dogs or dogs under 7 or something like that. But maybe it's when they cover. When a dog covers, they win 80% of the time. So if you like it, it's like you're taking the points, you might as well take a money line most of the time. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. So our next matchup here is a matchup of two rookie quarterbacks, both making their second ever start. So we got the Colts going into Houston in a divisional matchup. Al, what do you got here?
Yeah, so this is another one, and I think the spread here is 1.5, but I'm teasing the Texans from +1.5 up to +7.5. I think C.J. Stroud and really D'Amico Ryans can have this team competing. This is Houston at home, a division game against a Colts team that looked half decent against the Jags, but I don't think I don't think they're good enough to cover a touchdown. So I feel like this is a really good teaser spot for Houston.
Yeah, it was +1 when I was looking at it this morning, and I debated. It's not technically a long teaser till it gets to 1.5. I think it is at 1.5 now, so I might go back and add this in, but that's why I don't have it on the spreadsheet. Just trying to be a little disciplined. Like I said, the teasers I do have, I bet it 11 ways already. So
yeah,
just adding in the ones that are just a little bit outside, all of a sudden you've got 30 of them.
Yeah. But then they all hit.
Sometimes. Yeah. This past weekend, I had 3 legs. One of them loses, and then all of a sudden you've got 3 losers and only 1 winner. And it's a terrible, terrible week. So.
Yeah.
Fucking Pittsburgh.
Yeah, if only we could learn our lesson, huh?
Right. All right, moving into the 4 o'clock spread, 4:05, West Coast battle, 49ers and the Rams. Al, we have the same play here, so I'll let you go ahead and take this one.
Yeah, we're going to tease the Niners up past 7. So
Niners down. I think they're like
Yeah, correct.
Like 8-point favorites. So from -8
to 8 to 1.5 to 2, wherever that is. Yep.
Cool. Then we've got the other 4:05 game is the Giants and the Cardinals. As of now, we don't have any play on this. For me, it's because just the Giants looked so bad, and the Cardinals, everybody thought they were just going to lay down and die. And I think this is one of those instances of like, no matter how bad the front office wants to tank, once those players get on the field, like they want to win, right? They're competitors. They've worked their whole lives for this. Like you can't make the players tank. And they played hard. So I didn't see what I expected from either of these teams. So I need another week or 2 to figure it out. Do you guys have any thoughts on that one?
I'm not touching that bet anywhere.
No way. My only thought, like if I were if you like made me bet this game, I'd take the under 40, but I'm not gonna bet it.
That's fair. Before the season, if this had been like the season opener and it was Giants -5.5, I would have been all over that. But just gonna take a week and see. All right, then we've got the Aaron Rodgers-less Jets going into Dallas. Al, what do you got on this one?
Yeah, so this might be an overreaction spot, and I might be a sucker here, but I think I saw the Cowboys. I could get them at -9 still, and this feels like a game they're going to win by double digits. This is going to be this. So this is a average to slightly above average offense and a great defense going against a below average offense and a great defense. And saying that out loud makes me feel like this is a trap spot and the Jets are going to cover, but you could not pay me to bet on Zach Wilson right now. Even with more time to prepare than he had. They're still on a short week. The Cowboys just really impressed me. I don't think they win by 40 again, but I think they can cover 9.
Nice. And then Sunshine, you read my mind. I was thinking this while you typed it into the spreadsheet. You just added in under 39.5 in that game. What are your thoughts there?
Just listening to what Al was saying, there's a lot that I was thinking on there that I think that both the defenses will show up, and I don't have too much confidence in Zach Wilson or, like the Cowboys defense scored a whole lot of those points last week. So now I'm like, all right, we can play the under. I don't like betting unders because I like to see high scoring games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The rare under right here. I'm locked right in.
I love
And
unders.
it'll be fun to watch.
I love unders, especially on low numbers. So under 39.5. I love that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lock it up for the podcast purposes, but I might join you on that in real life. So
Yeah.
that's fun. All right, and the last afternoon game is the Commanders heading out west to Mile High to take on the Broncos. Al, what do you got for us there?
Yeah, I'm gonna lay 3.5 with the Broncos. The Commanders, they played well. I like Ron Rivera as a coach. I think heading out west and playing in Mile High is something that's going to impact that team. And I think it's also, Sean Payton, home opener, Russell Wilson in the new offense. No Nathaniel Hackett. Give me the 3.5. I'll lay it.
Yeah, I like that quite a bit. Washington looked decent, but they were also playing a team that people expect to be one of the worst in the league. So having to go out west now and play Denver, I like that a lot. Real quick, I'm getting word that Matt is able to join us for just a second. Matt,
All right.
How do you feel about Sam Howell? Okay, perfect. Thank you. Appreciate that.
I hate him. I hate him.
I hate him.
I hate him.
That actually sounded like Matt. Good job, Sonny.
Sunshine, do you have any thoughts on that one?
I want to take Denver to win, and even to cover. It's just that I think that everything that he said, they have Sean Payton and Russell Wilson, who was once a great. I mean, he's bound to rebound at some point. I just think that this might be the game that he starts to figure it out. Plus, he's got a child on the way, so he's really got to figure that shit out. I mean, he's not really worried about money, but
Nice. Yeah, so I agree. I would lean the same way, but not going to lock it up for the pod.
mm-mm.
Then we've got.
I'll take the extra dub.
All right, then we've got Sunday Night Football. Miami Dolphins heading up to New England. We're all in alignment, at least mostly, on this. I feel like if Danny were here, he would fight us on this. I have nothing to back that up, but that's just the feeling that I get. Sunshine, why don't you kick us off? Tell us what you got going on here.
Yeah, so I'm taking the points with New England. So I was able to get them at plus 2.5. And my reasoning for this is teams that are of a good caliber generally don't lose back-to-back home games. They lost at home last week. They're going to work their asses off to make sure that doesn't happen again. There's a couple rules that I have, and it's losing back-to-back, and it's hard to beat the same team 3 times. So a lot of times, when a team has to play somebody the 3rd time in the playoffs or something,
Yeah.
Sometimes I lean the other way. It's just one of those little things I keep in mind.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think we're in agreement here. I'm taking both the plus 2.5 and teasing it up to 8.5. You give me a home dog in a divisional game. I love that situation. I think if I were Danny and Danny were here, I think he would say, you guys are all idiots. You're overthinking this. The Dolphins are a much better team. They're going to score 100 on the Patriots. And, he might be right. That might happen. But I've seen crazier things happen.
Yeah, I agree with both of you guys. I'm going to take the 2.5 with New England and tease it up with 6-point teaser up to 8.5. Just gives me a little bit more of a window of happiness where the Dolphins can win, but the Patriots can still cover. So I like it at 2.5, but the teaser just gives me a little bit bigger window to get both of those in there.
It feels silly to me, always taking the spread and then also teasing it. But you get a little bit better odds. You're not having to rely on another team doing
Absolutely.
their part. So, I think I'm going to keep doing this where I take both parts of it.
The
when
only thing
applicable.
The only thing I would say to any of our listeners is you might want to take like half a unit on each of those instead of doing a full unit on each. But it depends on how much you like it, right? If you just
Yeah.
absolutely love it, 2 units on one team is not gonna kill you as long as you're using a reasonable unit size. Hey.
Heyo. Hey, you know what I love? I love seeing those beautiful lips on sunshine chugging a beer. So go ahead and chug that beer for me, please.
All right. While you guys drink there, I'm going to set up. We actually have 2 Monday night games. I feel like usually the 2 Monday night games is in week 1, isn't it? Does anybody know why it's in week 2 this year?
I think they do it like 2 or 3 weeks in a row. I don't know. Usually a West Coast game and an East Coast game.
Well, these are both East Coast games, so I'm not sure. Not sure what the schedulers are doing, but we've got the Saints going into Carolina, and you two are fighting on this. So, Sonny, I'll let you go first and tell us why you believe in the Saints.
That's why I gave him the Chuggy.
I really hope that he convinces me otherwise. This is really hard as an Atlanta fan, but I'm taking the points to New Orleans, -3. And my reason being is they have a solid quarterback right now with Derek Carr. And I don't know, like I'm kind of on the fence about this one, but I have a feeling that they're going to be probably the best team in the South, the NFC South, which is probably the worst division in football. So they're the best of what's left. I think they'll be, if we beat Carolina by 2 touchdowns they're going to beat Carolina by a touchdown at least.
Yeah. So I'm taking the Panthers. I got a +3.5. I think as we're recording here, the best available is +3. I wouldn't like it under that, but +3 is still a go. It's the Panthers at home. It's a dog shit field. It's like playing on concrete. Teams hate playing there. It's the Panthers, home opener, I believe,
Yes.
right? And then, Bryce Young, I think, did a lot of good things last week. I think all of these teams in the NFC South are a lot closer than a lot of people think. I think this is a division that literally any of the 4 teams could win. So, yeah, I'll take the points in that situation.
So I think I would lean towards Sunshine, but I'm not locking anything up. So good luck to both of you. And then finishing it off with that final Monday night game, another divisional matchup, the Browns going into Pittsburgh to play the Steelers. Al and I are both teasing Pittsburgh from the +2.5 up to +8.5. So that's the final leg of the teasers. I will go back and run through all the teasers real quick at the end, just for anybody who wants a recap. But we're actually on opposite sides of the spread. So Al's doing the thing again where he does the spread and the teaser on the same team. I'm doing the Pittsburgh teaser, but I'm laying the 2 with Cleveland. So I'll have that 6-point window in the middle where I could possibly win both. So I just think Cleveland looked good against what should be a good Cincinnati team, and Pittsburgh looked like trash.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Cleveland can win this, but I think Pittsburgh can keep it close. What about you, Al?
Yeah, it's another one of these situations where it feels awful. But, you see stats, you see numbers that say, smart money is on Pittsburgh here. And I would say if they fail to cover on this one, I think I will write them off outside of maybe a teaser. But I think I'll be done with the spread if they come out looking like dog shit again. But, I don't know. How good are the Browns? How bad are the Steelers? I guess we'll find out on Monday.
Nice. All right, guys. In just a second, I'm going to ask you for your chuggy bets. So be thinking about that. But while you think about it, I'm going to run through these teasers real quick. Just to recap, the teasers that Al has is Philly tease from -7 down to -1. A Houston tease from +1.5 up to +7.5. San Francisco tease from -8 down to -2. A New England tease from +2.5 up to 8.5. And a Pittsburgh tease, same thing, +2.5 up to 8.5. I've got Atlanta from 2 up to 8. San Francisco from 8 down to 2. New England from 2.5 up to 8.5. And Pittsburgh from +2.5 to +8.5. So it's a quick recap there. We actually had a listener request for us to recap those last week. So,
yeah, we're gonna make so much money off of that. I love Wong teasers. I love them.
I love all things Wong.
BD Wong.
Sure. All right, Sunshine, what do you got for your Chuggy bet?
I'm going to take the over 40.5, the Atlanta Green Bay game.
Excellent. Love it. Al, what about you?
Yeah, so I think what I'm gonna do is take I really want to do a teaser this week, but I don't know which leg I want to put with Houston. So I might just do Kansas City instead.
All right.
But yeah, put them down for Kansas City.
All right, that's Kansas City -3 playing the Jags. And for mine, I'm going to go with the old faithful Thursday night under 48.5 in Vikings at Eagles.
Wait.
All right, that is all of our picks for this week. Anybody have any final parting thoughts?
Let's win some bets. Let's get green. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Just
All
put
right.
that on the shirt.
Get green.
Yeah, get green. You know what I mean?
Love it. All right, so check out the link to our merch in the bio. And like, subscribe, tell a friend. And good luck this week. Good night, Joey.
Night, Joey.
All winners this week.
Cheers.